of...
Yes. Yeah. Gotta love those revenue generators.
Something has to be done. I gotta get a hold of the lady that was the main ACO for the state of Maine. She retired and moved to Redford. And I tried to talk her into uh, taking the position here temporarily until she could find a suitable replacement for it. I think I got her this close.
I don't think as far as the city goes, I think the city likes it the way it is. I think they like having somebody like that. They wouldn't have her if they didn't. I mean, do you honestly think like you'd be raising some information that nobody knew? Like they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, really? Her? You know, I bet she has a complaint portfolio, 3 inches thick. Yeah, she's pretty terrible. So this is a really crazy story. So neighbor of mine, this old man, he has like he has a couple of his daughter and grandson and whatnot are all living at his house. It's a small house. All in hard times. That's just how it happens sometimes. But they end up, I think they had like 5 dogs. In here in Redford, you're only allowed to have 2 dogs, 3 dogs. I'm not really sure. I think it's 3. And so, it's weird because it's like, that rule sucks, but that's the rule. So, I don't really know how to it's like you can't, like, yeah, it sucks that it is this way, but it is this way. And the fight that we're fighting, like, if you're gonna fight against that rule being stupid, then that has to be the fight. But the rest of the fight is a different narrative. But a neighbor down the road and their neighbor don't get along. And they've lived next to each other for many years, and it's a contentious situation, cantankerous situation. It's not a good situation. And the neighbor that they have, we're actually friends with both of them, both neighbors, both of each person, each side of it. Well, my wife is. She's friendly, I guess. I wouldn't say friends, but friendly. I personally don't like the dude. And from what I understand, from what I just heard, I now know why. I never liked the dude. He has some really suspect activity in his history, but no proof, so can't really say. Although, I guess there is kind of the proof. I mean, if a victim says something, that's kind of proof, right? Along with it being a sketchy situation. But the old guy, he's in his 70s, I think. He was a railroad operator. So at this point in his life, he's very crippled. He's very much a broken-bodied individual. I guess he was mopping the floor, and two of the dogs started having a little bit of a tiff, as dogs do. And when he went to get in between, he fell over. And for some reason, he was screaming. For some reason, the dude, the neighbor that they don't like, who stands, on the other side of the fence and antagonizes his dogs, and so it's an interesting situation because they have the family, they're. She's talking to me about it, and she's like, I need somebody to say, will you say that our dogs aren't vicious and they don't do this and they don't do that? And it's like, well, I think dogs, they shouldn't not be vicious. Like, I think your dog has a job to do. Your dog's job is to keep people from coming inside your house, coming inside your yard. And if that's what your dogs do, they're doing their job, right? And I don't have an issue with dogs that are aggressively defending their home. That's what people want them to do. So I think, yes, the dogs aggressively defend their home like they're supposed to. Do I think they will attack their owners? No. Do I think that they are, feral, wild animals? No. But the fact that they're forced into saying ridiculous things like their dogs don't do, aren't good dogs, because that's what a good dog is. Like, it's a weird thing. But the dude, the neighbor, stands on the one side of the fence and antagonizes the dogs. Fucks with them. So apparently he heard some screaming and decided that he was going to come over to the other person's house, who they don't like each other. He antagonizes their dogs. Their dogs, if you knock their door, their dogs go crazy. And they have to, keep the dogs are door crazy. Some dogs are just door crazy. But he goes and hears this commotion and opens their front door. And then, of course, the dogs lunge at him. They don't like him. He antagonizes them. He teases them. And they're super territorial and protective of their house. Probably because their owner is so old and compromised that they're extra protective of him. And so then the cops are called, and they have their guns all drawn, and they almost shoot the dogs and taking the dogs away. And now these people are trying to fight to keep their dogs, and nothing ever even happened. The guy got bit a little bit on the leg because, again, he fell down and there was a bit of a scuffle. But the dogs weren't trying to hurt him. If they wanted to hurt him, they would have torn his ass up. He's not the type that, the reason that he wasn't all fucked up is because he was capable of fighting them off. No way. If they were really vicious, horrible dogs, they would have lit his ass up. He'd been fresh meat off. If anything, when he fell, they probably triggered a protection in both of them, trying to keep the other one from trying to get at him. Dogs fighting is scary, for sure. It looks very intimidating, but then so do dogs playing. If you take the sound away and you look at it in slow motion, it's really hard to tell the difference between dogs playing and dogs fighting. They're very rough and violent, and they have thick skins, and it's crazy. But the hoops that this family is now going to have to jump through, and the fact they're probably going to lose their dogs over this, is just wild because of the revenue generators. I don't believe that the animal control officer in this city gives a shit about animals. I think she's a revenue generator. And it's a strange situation. She's not nice. It's really weird, and I don't know if it's because the job has hardened her. But see, it's one of these things too, where it's like, she's one of these people that if you were like, yeah, well, you're not nice, that's why people don't like you. She's not gonna go, really? How am I not nice? How am I rubbing people the wrong way? What can I do differently? How can I make this better? She's the type that's gonna attack you for saying that she's not nice, and then wonder why people don't think she's nice. It's really sad. It's a really sad situation. You're gonna kill these dogs over this? Because it's not like these dogs are gonna get, go to the society and then get adopted. They're old. And who knows? They get adopted by somebody. You don't know what that person's gonna do. These people were like the overtly affectionate dog lovers. They had their dogs sleep in the beds with them and shit. Dogs all on the couches. I don't agree with that. Dogs are dogs. They're not people. Don't treat your dogs like people. They don't want to be treated like people. They want to be treated like dogs. There needs to be an established hierarchy, and if there's not, the dogs will try to, fix that hole. My mom's dog was so neurotic because my mom was super neurotic. And it was this really interesting, if she was outside, the dog would just be doing perimeter search after perimeter search, just keep looking, was always on edge, was always barking on shit, this, that, and the other. And so one day when I came to visit, I had to put the dog down, I had to just put it down, not violent, you put it down and you hold its neck like this. You don't even you don't grab it, you just put your fingers to mimic teeth. And you just hold it there. And of course it's gonna fight at first. Yell and get all mad. But as soon as it realizes oh, okay, you're the big dog here, it'll go. As soon as that happens, you let it up and the dog is like that. My mom's dog completely changed while I was there. We died for a cigarette and the dog would come and just lay down at my feet and whatever, and wouldn't be doing the perimeter searches. Was really happy that somebody else was there to watch over things. And I'm sure it was fucked up when I left, but you have to mimic what the dogs do. The dogs don't smack their people that smack their dogs on the butt or smack their dogs on their nose or whatever. That's not how dogs do things. The disgusting people that'll rub their dog's face in if the dog pisses or shits in the house, they'll rub the dog's nose in it. That is how could you ever do that to anything? To rub its face in urine or feces, that's just, especially considering the dog's nose is so much stronger than ours, and you're that's just wild. But when you look at how dogs interact with each other, especially when they're young, the mom dog nips at the neck. That's why the prong collar is, it looks scary, but it's the more humane thing than having just a regular collar where the dog chokes itself because it's fucking stupid and it's just gonna choke the shit out of itself. The prong collar, it reminds the dog of what its mom used to do. And as soon as you just engage it like a little bit, you don't even have to yank on it hard. The dog goes, oh shit, mom said. And then there's the people that believe, you know, you should use treats and shit like that. And these people, these huge fat dogs, because you teach the dog to respond to getting food, and then it figures out the manipulation. And it won't do those things without food. You should reward your dog with love. If the dog does what you want it to do, then you good boy it and you pet it and you give it the affection it desires. You don't give it food. They're way too big to do anything to, right? That had to be that relationship had to be established when they were up. But you know, if my one dog ever became self-aware, decided that it was gonna run the show, there'd be nothing I could do about that shit. That's for goddamn sure. I just can't believe they're doing that to these people, man. It's so wrong. You need to take away these where the look at their dogs as family. You need to take away these people's family for some revenue. And it always leads back to the same source. You know, what does the badge remind you of? It's just another example of the same control mechanism that's everywhere. Go watch your average episode of Cops. Right. The average episode of Cops is either, you know, every once in a while there might be an accident or something like that. But for the most part, they're pulling someone over because of a mistake that they made. You know, they didn't use a turn signal the right way, or something's broken on their car or whatever. And you know, they don't think about like it's interesting. There's this real old episode of Cops that I saw once. And it was in, I think it was Boston. They had real bad Boston accents or New York accents or something. They were these guys were, I think they were in like a red Trans Am or some shit. But they were driving, they got pulled over, the two passengers were drunk, the driver wasn't drunk yet, but they were on their way somewhere, they had some beers in the car. I think they were even underage. I'm pretty sure they were underage. And the cop decided to have them pour out their beer and let them on their way. And when asked about it, she said, well, you know, these guys were about to go to college. They had their whole lives ahead of them. I didn't want to ruin their lives over, you know, one night of stupidity. And this was, 81 or something, 82, some shit like that. I don't remember. It was really early. And you just think like that's not how cops are today. And you could say they can't be, and maybe they can't be because of the body cam system. But the body cam system, like, nothing should be black or white. There should always be nuance, and we should trust people that we give the power to end lives to, that they can decide whether somebody should, like those kids should get in trouble or not. That she did them such a huge favor. She's not going to ruin their lives and fuck up their college prospects and all this other stuff because they were out partying. And they were being relatively responsible, The driver was sober. It weren't supposed to rain today. But it's such the opposite of that nowadays. It's really scary. The police. There we go. Interesting. I guess my view count got too high, so they just thought they'd knock it down. So sorry. It's raining. Don't worry, it won't be long. Last thing I want to be doing, trust me. Hate putting peas in the princess's mattress, She can feel them all.
What is that? Is that a pea?
Shush.
You don't have to pay attention to me, and I'm not going to shush. I'm live. It'd be a boring ass live if I'm shushed. I just don't, it's the revolution that we need isn't any one particular thing. It's multiple things. There needs to be there needs to be accountability. There needs to be a change across the board to make things better. We need to take all of the things that exist, all of the different religions, belief structures, whatever you want to say, and pool them all together, take the best things out of all of them, and eliminate the bad things, and make one thing that works for everybody, that encompasses everyone. And
that is his foot.
just a nip.
No stitches or...
Might have a couple of stitches, I don't know. I'm not there, no. Nothing terrible. The dog bit him.
Well, if the dog bit his foot...
The dog bit him, it didn't
He'd be
like
on
shake
crutches.
or anything like that. Right.
So it was an accidental.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Like I said, he fell down. At the point he fell down, both dogs were probably trying to protect him from the other one. It's not, it was just, it's just stupid. I mean, again, I think the way that we look at things is just so skewed. A dog is supposed to be vicious and foreboding and not welcoming when it comes to you coming into their house without permission.
If you walk up to our house, you think our dogs are vicious killers.
Especially if you come open the door and you're not supposed to be here.
I mean, that's what...
And you're somebody,
Coco,
somebody we don't like.
across the street, Thumper and Daisy, fucking Faith and Biggs. You'd think Faith and Biggs would eat you.
And they might.
Well,
They should.
You're a stranger, yeah.
This is we just keep we don't want to make dogs seem like bad guys, but
They're not. They're defending.
they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Defending their family.
I don't mind guns. You pull the trigger. Well, weren't you trying to pull the trigger and make the bullet come out? Like, that's what it's supposed to do. I wouldn't want dogs that couldn't defend my house. That's why I pay to have these fucking animals here. That's why we pay hundreds of dollars a week to have fucking animals. Is to protect us. The cat, because we tried to do the right thing once and had no idea the cat was going to pop out a bunch more. We thought it was a boy. And my wife's a fucking sucker who would never let the cats go. And I can blame her, but the truth is, watching that narrative take place was profound. You know, you're told to, I guess, make you feel better about it. But we're told that when animals stay together, that they become, you know, it's violent and it's, you know, they don't like each other and all that other shit. So that's why it's okay to take kittens away from their mothers at, what is it, 9 weeks?
8 weeks.
8 weeks. When the reality is, we had one kitten that, until his death, he nursed, he would seemingly nurse off the mother. She didn't produce milk, but it was just a comfort that he had. You know, these cats, they have their own, like, sometimes, you know, they like to break off in twos. And sometimes, like, these two like to play fight. These two like to chase each other. These two like to snuggle together. You know, it's really interesting how dynamic the relationship is. Right, they're an absolute family.
Like a family.
They don't hate each other. They don't fight constantly. Like the two boys like to wrestle.
Yeah, they don't really fight.
Right.
It's usually the shit starters.
Oh no. The two boys fight all the time. They have their little wrestling matches.
Well, wrestling, yeah, but not like vicious fighting.
Oh yeah, there is no vicious fight. Sometimes they all go after mom a little bit, but it's nothing. It's just like
Doesn't start shit everybody.
right. Yeah, and then there's like the sassy little one who just knows she's the shit, so she fucks with everyone. But they all still dig each other. Like, even though you would swear the girl and the biggest boy don't like each other, you catch them laying together all the time. When they don't see people are looking at them, they lay together. But they have their bonds, and it's really strong, and it's weird to think that we just disrupt that like we do, and then we wonder why, you know, that cat's not very friendly, or that cat's not this or that, you know. Well, maybe there's a reason for it. Did the comments get shut off? I think the comments got shut off. I don't know. Animals, the whole animal thing is weird to me. You know, I think what we do is weird. I think we keep cats. Cats are like these apex predators. They are designed for hunting and killing, and they like to kill things. And yet we don't let them kill things because that's gross. They think it's so cool that they'll come bring you the entrails and leave them on the, like, look what, here, I saved this part for you. And we're like, oh, that's horrible. You're supposed to be my cute cuddly. I don't want to think of you like that. Dogs are descendants of wolves. The can of water that you put into the bowl of food, of course they prefer it to be warm water. Why? Because it simulates blood. They have, like, these are creatures that, you know, innately kill things, and they eat animals that are alive while they're eating them. And to think that we don't want our dogs doing that, oh no. We want them chasing frisbees and such. It's just weird. I think the worst pets are when people have birds. when you're like, I think that thing's pretty and I like the way it makes noise. So I clipped its wings so it can't fly and I keep it in a cage. This thing that could fly, it could go anywhere it wanted to go. It could, could you imagine if you had the ability to fly and somebody took that from you? Can you imagine how much you would hate them? And instead we have them in these little tiny, well look, this is actually a pretty big cage. It's 4 feet by 3 feet. So it simulates their jungle habitat. Listen. If I say my name enough times, it'll say my name back to me. Haha, isn't that cool? And those people will call themselves animal lovers.
It's my dad's macaws had free reign of the house. Like their perch, the base of the perch was half the size of this bed, and then the perch went up, and it was huge. It was open. It wasn't caged. So the bird would climb down and walk over to the dog food dish, eat dog food, or whatever, do whatever he wanted. But he mainly wanted to be he liked his perch. He had toys. He was at eye level with you.
It was like a tree. He wanted to be out in a tree. Yeah. He wanted to be outside.
Well, he was born in captivity, so
right.
There's that.
He was born a prisoner. And our pets are our prisoners. We just don't like it. We don't like to look at it that way. They eat when we want them to eat. They want them to eat. We clean up their shit. We tell them where they should shit. But they're our prisoners. And so many people, just like in real life prison, fight's about to break out. There it is.
Whoa, gross.
So many people in prisons are horrible to people. And it's the same way. So many people are horrible to animals. Like, I definitely don't think of animals as equal to people. I don't think of, I don't think of my animals as like my family, or I'm not that person. At the same time, if you're the human and you have cats, you better clean their litter. That's not fair to make those cats who have to shit in these tiny little boxes have to have such a disgusting experience because you're lazy and don't clean their shit. If you're going to have the animal, then you better take care of it. I don't know. I think it's weird. I think the whole animal thing is a weird thing to do. And I think it's a weird way of we have prisoners. Then you'd open the door and let them, if they wanted to leave, they would, and you'd have no problem with it. But you're never going to do that. Funny thing is, I say that, but I can tell you that there have been multiple times where one of the kids left the gate open and we let the dogs out without knowing that the gate was open, and they stood there. One time it was like a half hour.
Mo got out one time and he walked in front of our neighbor's house and into his backyard. Remember that?
No. But
he did. That's his. He was like, he went into the next door's backyard, probably to smell that dog's shit or piss or whatever.
Piss on it.
Go pee on it.
Right.
And that was it.
But like our big dog, he'll just sit there and wait. He doesn't want to leave.
Oh yeah, now he wouldn't do that. That was years ago.
Who?
Mo did that.
I know.
Oh, the other one.
Yeah, Broly won't leave. He's good. He likes where he is because we're so mean to him, We used to, one of our neighbors had a dog that they would just leave in the basement. It didn't get any love. It didn't, it was just such an awful situation. But it was just enough that it wasn't abuse, but it was it wasn't an ideal situation. And that dog would get out and beeline it to our house every day. If
just want to be in your arms.
and just wanna hang out.
If she wanted you to pick her up, hold her. She'd love it.
And I'd have to pick her up and take her back over there. She's a little dog, so I don't think she was heavy.
And she was still young.
Right. And she would be like, so like, damn it, I don't want to go back home. I don't want to go back here.
Actually, she was.
Anyway, this video isn't working out as well today. Hey. There goes a chase scene.
Told you it's always the girls.
But it's been a weird day with the video stopping. The third try was the one that worked. I had a bunch of viewers, but I had to go because of the people that were here. So now
Is it raining?
yeah.
Is it truck windows?
Yes. Anyway, you have yourself a wonderful day. You pedophiles, you kill yourself.